guys, how you doing? My name is Nick Rubelino, and we are here with another episode of the Don't Move, Improve podcast with my friend Matt Bruder, our showroom manager. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Right on, man. So Matt is probably a familiar face to you. He is one of our YouTube and Instagram reel stars, along with Mike. So let's just get right into it. What brought you into Munz Construction? How long have you been here? Kind of give me the overview of everything.
Yeah, so I've worked at Munz for about 4 years. And it's kind of a weird story how I got hired here. So I'm in, your classic neighborhood Facebook groups where people post about their businesses, they post about their lives, they post about, who's setting off fireworks at 10 p.m.,
Yeah.
my dog's going crazy, that kind of stuff. One day I saw Chris Munz, our owner here, he made a post just, like he does, said, anybody looking for a job? And I really wasn't, but, I was curious to see what was out there, what kind of opportunities there were here. So I just messaged him on Facebook Messenger and was like, hey, what positions are you hiring for?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what do you do? Well, and I'd gone to, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, I'd gone to tech school. I was a residential and commercial electrician for a number of years in high school and after high school. And so I told him, I was like, I have, pretty rudimentary knowledge of construction, but my expertise is really in the electrical field. And he was like, we'll bring you on as an estimator. I was like, all right. Interviewed with Steve McGill, sales manager. And then about a week later, October 4th, I still remember it to this day, walking up the stairs to my desk with my red polo on, with my lunchbox in my hand.
First day of school vibes, man.
Yeah, first day of school. It was nice. But then I realized very quickly how this is a much different work environment. We have, the same struggles that every place will have, but it's really more of a family environment, and it's family owned. It's a small family owned business, but we're a team here, and there's really a lot of that team mentality around here, and that's something that I noticed very early on. So, and that's one of my favorite things about working here, and one of the reasons that I'm still here 4 years later, and not even thinking about going anywhere else. So
Yeah. So you started as an estimator, and then when I met you, little short story. When I first started working at Munz Construction, I was shoved in a desk behind a printer, and then I was there for a few weeks. And Matt had an office to himself, but it also had another office desk set up in there. And then I think it was probably a month or two. It might have been a few weeks. I'm not totally sure.
Just a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks. And then I moved into the office right next to Matt. So that's where Matt and I became friends, because we hung out and worked together for every day for a long time. And then all of a sudden you got promoted, man. You got moved. You were taken out of our office. So talk a little bit about that. And I know you're now at the showroom as the showroom manager. So talk about that transition a little bit and tell me about it.
Yeah. So, the day-to-day is totally different. Going from the sales team, building estimates, coming up with, preliminary concept designs and things like that, to now we're in the showroom meeting with customers who have signed contracts with us. They're coming in and, helping them select their materials for their projects. And a lot of it's, creative problem solving. We've got budgets that we're trying to stick to, and we've got visions that these homeowners bring in. And we really do what we can to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And so, the day-to-day workflow is a little bit different, but it's all really rooted in the same ideals of customer service, right? Like, people come to us with a need. And whether it's the sales team, whether it's the design team, project managers, they come to us with a need, and then we use our skills and our knowledge to, satisfy that need and make it happen. So, it's still, working face to face with customers, and in my opinion, they're the most important part of what we do. So it's really, and in a lot of cases, people may take it for granted, but it's an honor to be, part of these renovations. There's a little bit of pride to it when you design something for somebody, and then you get to see your design built and executed. But there's also, somebody wants their dream kitchen, and you were the brains behind it, and you made it happen. So it's cool to see people get to enjoy those things after coming here, working with you, and
Yeah, so the showroom is not just a different job, it's in a different place. So the showroom is one of our 3 locations. We're currently in our headquarters in Holland. And then we have another location in Newtown, which is one of our newer locations. That's the sales team office. And then the showroom is located in the Warminster, Warwick area at the corner of Bristol and Mearns. So that was a whole transition. But for someone that hasn't been there, what can they expect?
Yeah, so I believe it was an old doctor's office. It was an old house at one point, and we've been in there for a number of years now. But you walk in, you'll be greeted by any of our friendly showroom staff, our designers, and you'll see it from right when you walk in the door as you're walking all around. The showroom, we've got a number of samples out for different materials, whether it's cabinets, countertops, tiles, flooring. We have our own dedicated room in the back for just exteriors. So we've got a bunch of different decking installed, some siding, railing samples. Obviously you're limited by the space that you have, but we really do what we can to make the most of it. So that way when people come in, we can show them as many options as there are. And I think we do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, definitely. And then how does the showroom bring the homeowner's vision to life using these samples and giving them the ability to kind of see face to face what their project's going to be?
Yeah, so we use a couple different 3D imaging softwares, SketchUp 2020, and those are, good software for construction, for layouts and things like that. Cabinetry, where we put together these images of what the finished product will look like. Whether it's a kitchen, whether it's an exterior renovation, a bathroom, a basement, we're able to show the clients what their job's going to look like when it's finished. Obviously there's some caveats, like it's a computer software, it's on a screen. So as far as colors and things like that, you really need to see the materials in person before you can make that final decision. And I tell that to everybody, like everyone wants to see the renderings, and I tell them, listen, we really got to put these materials in front of you as well. Because the renderings are a great tool. But I don't want you picking your flooring and your wall paint color and your cabinet color based off of how it looks in the rendering, because it might not necessarily be exactly how it would look in real life. But it's a great tool. We use it every day, and we use it for pretty much every job that comes through the showroom.
I know, as the type of person I am, like if I were to remodel my kitchen, I know what I like, but I don't know exactly what I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I know the color, I have an idea of what I would like, but I don't know exactly what I would like. That's definitely the main thing that I think people can take from the showroom. Like, oh, I like dark colored floors, but what does that really mean? There's like 1,000 different options, and same with cabinets. Like, I want white cabinets, but there's not just white cabinets. There's, eggshell, there's different designs, different styles, and different hardwares that complement those styles. It's really elaborate, and how do you feel that seeing the options help the clients? Like, is that like a quick process, or do most of the people that come in kind of like, well, I want oak cabinets that are flat with brown handles, as an example? I might not have the greatest taste. I'm not a designer.
I mean, sometimes people come in and they know exactly what they want. And, you show them something and they say, I don't like it, get it out of my face. Then you show them something they like and they're like, that's it, we're going with that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those meetings can be pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, it takes a little bit longer. And when you're dealing with this type of work, whether it's a small powder room or a full 2-story addition with multiple bathrooms and a kitchen, there can be a lot of pressure to make some of these decisions. And we do it every day, so we don't necessarily feel that pressure. But as a homeowner, you're thinking, this is going to be my kitchen. I'm spending all this money. I don't want to put all this money into it and then have to live with it for however many years, or maybe I don't ever plan on redoing this kitchen again, and I'm going to live with this for the rest of my life. So
there's a lot of
maybe I won't like this countertop in 5 years. And there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of weight, there's a lot of pressure to those decisions where, even if you know what you like, but you're not 100% sure about it, it can be tough. So, I mean, we really do our best to, present our ideas, not overwhelm customers. Like if you come to me and you're saying, I want some options for a bathroom faucet, I'm not going to send you 20 different links to faucets. I'm going to send you 3 very different styles. And you're going to tell me which one you like the best. And then I'll maybe send you 3 that are close to that. That's usually an approach that I like with the clients, because, you're not putting a million choices in front of them at once. You kind of narrow it down as you go. And our design team's really good with that. Like, they're very good with presenting those options, giving their ideas to the customers as well. Because like you said, you might have a good idea of what you want, but you're not 100% sure. And some people know what they want, and then by the time they get through the showroom, they realize they didn't actually want that. And, you get a little bit of the design expertise from one of our designers, and you realize that, your vision may have been good, but they can make a couple tweaks and make it even better. And so there's a pretty fair balance between, giving the customer what they want, but also, giving them some of our input, because, I would hate, I as a consumer, if I came to you and I said, hey, I want to do this, and you didn't come to me with the idea of, hey, I can make your vision better. And then we were done. And then I see something after the fact, and I was like, oh, why didn't we do that? I'd be kind of upset with you if we go all the way through this process, and then I see something, I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? And you were like, oh, well, you told me what you wanted. So that's why it's important as designers to always give your input. Don't feel like you're, belittling a homeowner's taste, just because you're offering your own input or suggestions, because, you might offer something up and they'll go, I hadn't thought of that. That's a great idea. They could also say, I don't like that idea at all, or I've, thought about that. No, but, just part of doing your job.
Yeah. Personally, like, when it comes to making decisions that are going to be monumental in my life, I tend to default to expert opinions, like with the showroom, as an example. Like, I know what I like, but if the designer's like, hey, trust me on this one, go with this option because of, it's higher quality, it might last longer, I'd be definitely more inclined to go with their opinion. And we have a great group of designers there right now. Absolutely. They're, masters at their craft. They know they know how to communicate. They know how to design, and they know, they're up to date on all the trends and stuff like that. And I think, that's a testament to Munz that, we're trying to put our best foot forward every step of the way. So from the time you call us, by the time you sign your contract, to the designers, the project managers, like from top to bottom, we're doing our best. Moving on, we have a new segment of the podcast. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It is called Design, Build, Do's and Don'ts. So I'm going to say a phrase, and then you're going to say do or don't. Okay. So the first one, design, build, do or don't. Starting construction before finalizing the design.
I'm going to say don't.
Okay.
There's a couple of reasons. If you jump into your build before you have everything finalized, whether it's material selections, whether it's your exact layout on the interior, cabinets, flooring, what have you, you run the risk of having, construction delays. If you don't know what materials you're picking, and then you're halfway through the build and you select something with an extended lead time, it could put a hold on construction for a number of weeks. And really, that's something you want to avoid altogether. It's important to understand your material lead times before you start the project, so that way you can properly build it into your timeline. Another reason is just cost. Like if you start to frame out an addition a certain way, say you frame in a bathroom and you're framing for your shower to be a certain size, and then you decide to change the size of your shower after you already sheetrocked and primed the walls, then you have to come in and, kind of rip some of that out because you're changing the size of your shower. You could end up having to pay for work that's already been you could end up having to pay for work that's been done that you now have to undo and redo. It's just, those are really like the two main reasons I would say don't.
Yeah. And like from my background, when I started here, I was new to construction. I didn't really understand how important scheduling was for construction. You have to schedule everything out. Sometimes it takes time to get materials to the location, time to get the contractors there to actually do the construction, time to do your selections, and it's a time-intensive process. So skipping a step in any form is not going to be beneficial to the project.
That's right.
So the next design, build, do or don't. Working with a design build firm instead of a separate designer and contractor.
Do.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, so there's obviously some pros and cons. Like if you work with the designer to really nail down a design and then you want to bring it to contractors to get pricing, working with a design build firm, you're going to have a little bit different of an experience where you kind of develop your design and your plan while you develop your budget. And you put together pricing for it. So, we see it a lot where people will bring plans to us that have already been developed. Maybe they get a rough idea of cost while it's being designed, maybe not. And then they bring us, some very nice plans and they find out that the design that they've spent so much time already developing is outside of their budget. Whereas when you deal with, you get it all through a design build company where we're going to be developing your plan, but we know your budget. So when you ask for certain things, we'll say we'll happily, like if you're doing a kitchen and you have a budget and you say, hey, we want to do waterfall countertops. Well, that depends on what your budget is. And we'll tell you that. We'll say, hey, you're trying to stay within a certain budget. Are you sure you want to add these things at this point? Because that may take you over your budget. And if it's not a necessity, it's just maybe a wish list item, and then we want to take that money in the budget and put it elsewhere. We're able to do that kind of on the fly, and you don't have to. It saves you a lot of back and forth. Of you talk to your contractor, you get your pricing, you talk to your designer, you're waiting a couple weeks for your revisions, and then you send it back to the contractor, and you might be waiting a little bit for your pricing. Having that all in one place really just cuts down on time. And gets you to your build a little bit faster.
And it definitely takes pressure off the homeowner as well. Like Munz Construction, we're a one-stop shop for everything construction, Yep. From the first phone call to the final build, we kind of got you, And that kind of leads us into the next design, build, do or don't. Coordinating the project by yourself as a homeowner.
Well, if you're brave enough, go for it. But I'm going to say don't.
Yeah.
And obviously, being a construction company, we're doing it all. So the designs, the builds, even like the behind the scenes things like permits, and material ordering, things like that. We have people on staff that really handle all of that.
Yeah.
And as a homeowner, our philosophy is, we should just handle everything for you.
Yeah.
You only have so much free time. You should be spending it with your family, doing things that you like. You shouldn't have to, order materials and figure out what you're doing with these materials and schedule your different teams to come and do different aspects of the scope. It's a lot to juggle as a homeowner, and if you don't do it full time, if it's not your career, it can be easy to overlook things, and then we kind of circle back to delays and additional costs of if you overlook something as the homeowner, you could put a hold on your job. Whereas if you have, somebody like us coming in and doing your job, you've got a daily point of contact with your project manager, you still have the same amount of, involvement, and you're in the know as if you were running it yourself because they're communicating with you daily. But you don't have the pressure and the stress on you where you have to make everything happen.
Yeah. Just living regular life, working a job. I don't know where a homeowner could find the time to do all this stuff, because there's so much that goes into timelines, to designs, to permits, like you said. And on another hand, we were just at the Grange Fair, and we got the opportunity to speak to a lot of people in the community, and it was always a good point to make to people that we handle the permits, because a lot of people, I don't think, know that as a design build construction company that we handle the permits and the variances and all that. And a lot of the times people were like, we're not doing our project because we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to have to deal with the township. We don't want to have to deal with the survey people, and we do it all here. So it just makes the whole process easier from for the homeowner. You know. All right, the next design build, do or don't. Plan for temporary living situations.
I like this one.
Okay.
Absolutely. Do that.
Okay.
And there's a couple different ways, this could look a little bit different depending on the job that you're doing. Like if you're doing a kitchen renovation, you're gutting the kitchen, there's going to be a period of time where you're without a kitchen, because most houses have one kitchen. So you gut it, you've got nothing. It's important to plan for some sort of temporary workspace where, you know, maybe we hook up a microwave, get you a nice counter, a sink that can be operational, you know, for the time being, because, you know, you don't want to have to order dinner out every night. If you're, you know, depending on the size of your kitchen, it could be, you know, a couple month build, it could be a 6-month build, you know, that adds up. You know, you're not just investing a lot of money in your kitchen, you're spending a lot of extra money because you're not able to use your kitchen for however long it's down for. That said, I mean, we try to leave the kitchen operational as long as we can, and then get it back to operational even while we're doing some finishing touches. So that way, you know, it's down for as little time as possible. Or bathroom. Say, you know, we're redoing a master bath, and this is kind of a smaller example, but you would just plan to, you know, use the shower in your hall bath if you have multiple bathrooms, or you know, if we're doing a master suite reno, you know, you might have to sleep in your guest bedroom for a little while. And we've had it too where we're doing whole home renos and people have to find another place to live, whether it's with a local relative, or, you know, some people have just moved into like a hotel room for a short period of time. But yeah, it's important to consider those things, and sometimes those extra costs that may factor in, because if you have, you know, you have $100,000 budget for a project, but you're going to spend, you know, a couple $1,000s, you know, having to, you know, rent somewhere else for a month or something like that. It's important to factor that in when you're in the planning stages, and not one of those things where, oh crud, I have to move out in a week and I, you know, didn't plan for this extra cost. So do that.
Okay. Yeah, and one important thing to stress is, like, even for like whole home interior remodels, you don't have to move out completely. Like, we did a project down in Yardley where we did everything on the inside, basically gutted the whole house and redid the whole thing, and they stayed living there the whole time. And what that really meant was, with the project managers, they scheduled like, all right, we're going to do the kitchen during this period of time. And then that way the homeowners were able to set up a little temporary kitchen with like a crock pot, a microwave in their dining room. And then we were redoing their master bathroom. So we did that, but still left the hall bath open. And then once that was finished, you know, you switched it to doing the hall bath. So there was always something available for you, you know. So it's important to keep those things in mind when you're doing large projects. All right, so the final design build, do or don't. Plan this build with future projects in mind.
Another good one. Yes, do that. And again, similar to the last one, this could look different depending on your scope. You know, we've done some where someone's building a single-story addition off the back of their house, and they're not sure if maybe they probably want to build a second story on top of that sometime in the future, and it might involve a bathroom, it might involve, you know, certain mechanicals. And so, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, well, we're going to take a little bit of your budget and we're going to allocate that towards running some rough plumbing up into the ceiling of that first floor. So that way, when you do go to build this addition in the future, we don't have to cut open the walls and ceiling of the addition you already built to access and run all these lines. They're already up there. It actually will make the future job cheaper. And so it's just important while you're, planning a renovation, rather than going all in on that renovation, have some thoughts about what you might do in the future and how this job could affect those jobs in the future. Because, there's always ways to save money if you're forward thinking and you're not having to go back and undo work that you've already done.
It's always good to keep the future in mind, especially for construction.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's touch on a little bit of video creation, So you're not only in the showroom, you're also a YouTube star,
Sure.
As I like to say. What's that like? And talk to me a little bit about the process and how that all started.
Yeah. So, you had mentioned before, when you first started working here, we were kind of desk buddies for a little while. And I jokingly one day, you were coming up with scripts for something, and I jokingly one day took it off your desk and did like my best Morgan Freeman voice or what have you.
Yeah.
And you were like, "No, that actually sounded pretty good." I was like, "No, it didn't." I thought you were just giving me a hard time.
It was actually pretty good.
And then you were talking about, going out and doing videos. And I was like, "Hey," and still kind of jokingly, but I guess not really. I was like, "Hey, if you need somebody while you're filming these videos, I'd be happy to go out there and, stand in front of the camera and talk about these jobs." And then we went out, we did it on one of the in-law suites that we built a couple years ago. And, that went really well. And I feel like we just kind of kept at it and kept, highlighting these jobs. And it's a fun process. Typically you hit me up and you're like, "Hey, I'm going out here in a couple weeks. When are you free?" And then we kind of put our heads together a little bit beforehand and kind of get a general idea of what we want to highlight and what we want to shoot while we're out there. And then we meet out there and all that planning goes out the window.
Exactly.
And we're like, you know what, like this, because you start to see it, right? Like when we're looking at the job on paper, you think, oh, this is going to be really cool. This is going to be really cool to highlight. And then you get out there and then you see some other things that maybe aren't written in the paperwork that you're like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
One of the first things that comes to mind was that there's a dormer edition that we went and did earlier this year. And it was a really cool job because we kind of maintained the character of an older house, but we didn't do anything flashy. It wasn't like a super high-end kitchen with fancy cabinets or anything like that. But this job had its own set of challenges, and it was really, we're taking a house that was built, probably 80 years ago, and doing a major addition to the front of it, but trying not to have it look like, super modern build. And, we didn't know, I didn't know this personally going out there. I wasn't super involved with this job in particular, but we get out there and the homeowner just kind of on the side mentions, "Oh, and your hardscaper did a great job of, taking this stone that we had on the front of the house." And then when we demoed and we built out, he's like, "Yeah, he took that stone that you guys removed, and he actually used it on the front step." And that always sticks out to me as just a really cool example of the attention to detail that we have on these jobs. And we're not just slapping a set of stairs on the front of this house. We're taking the time and we're coming up with these things like, hey, we're able to repurpose some of this original stone from the house. It kind of ties in with the character. It looks nice and it has a little bit of meaning too. And it's meaning to the customer because that's their house. But it also to them shows that we're kind of going the extra mile to really make this their job. And not just another Munz edition where we're slapping walls up and we're putting a Munz sign out front and then we're saying see you later. We're really taking our time with these customers and really making just making it happen for people. And it's cool.
As the man behind the camera, I think my favorite part is that we spend a decent amount of time planning before we go out there. So a part of the process is that there's always packets that have the information about the project. And Matt and I look over that. We highlight a few things like, oh, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. And then we get out there, and usually we just throw away pretty much all the work that we did. And then basically just kind of improv a lot of it in a structured format. And I think one of my favorite examples of that is the pool house that we just went to. We had the packet, and then we walked in, and it was so awe-inspiring. We were like, all right, let's get rid of that packet, and let's just talk about the cool things that are right in front of us right now.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly it, because we have these plans to go in and touch on certain things. And then, like you said, like all that kind of goes out the window. We kind of look at this like semi-script that we put together, and we're thinking to ourselves, this isn't going to do justice to what we're looking at right now. And it's a lot of time that our design team spends to really craft these interiors, and then our project management team making it happen, building it. And that one's cool because the art studio
that was cool.
Is really cool.
And the under countertop lighting, Tony did a great job. Yeah. And I think as I grow in the marketing space, the thing that I like to highlight with these construction projects is the little details. Because you go to another construction company's page and you see like, oh, that's a very beautiful kitchen, and that's a very beautiful bathroom, and you can look at a Munz project and be like, that's a beautiful kitchen and bathroom, but like, what sets this project apart? What did the homeowner want done that made this project special? And like another project that comes to mind, which we published on YouTube and Instagram, was that kitchen with the double island. They had a custom hood put in, but the cool part about that hood was the niches put in on the insides, and they even had outlets in those niches for whatever they wanted to be. And that those little things are what I think make our projects cool. What makes it interesting to the viewer, highlighting those things. And those details aren't always in the packets. You only see those things right when you get there, and it's just a part of the process. And it really helps kind of, communicate to the homeowners what Munz is all about, Are there any other projects that come to mind that we have filmed that you're like, oh, that was a cool one? I just listed like the top 3 coolest ones in my opinion. Yeah. But are there any others?
Well, the big one that comes to mind is the first one we filmed. And if you watch that video, you can tell it was the first video we did.
Yeah.
But the job itself was really cool. It was this old, it was a house in Doylestown. A family was moving in, and her mother was going to move in with them. And they had this, I don't remember the exact size, but it was kind of like this library room that was sort of built off the house. It was attached, might have been a garage at one point that was finished. They had these really beautiful wood built-in bookshelves throughout. And when I went out to that house for the first time, they specifically said, we need this to be an in-law suite, but we need to keep these shelves. And I'm standing in that room and I'm thinking, where are we going to put a bedroom? Where are we going to put a kitchen? Where are we going to put a bathroom? How are we going to make it all fit? And that one, I spent a lot of time with the homeowner going over different options, layouts, until we settled on, I don't want to say settled, we reached this layout where, it's a pretty open concept. There's like that wooden slat wall that kind of separates.
It was really cohesive.
Yeah.
With like using the old bookshelves and then using the slat wall, and how we kind of put that kitchenette in there too. It worked really well. Yeah.
And it was just really cool to see how we hardly disturbed those bookshelves. Like, we had to remove a couple of shelves to put in like the mini split unit, the fridge, the kitchenette, like you mentioned. But really those were left largely intact. And then one of the cool things that she actually did after the build was she had somebody come in and, cause it's all open shelving. So, there's got to be some kind of aesthetically pleasing look to it. Otherwise, you're just tossing stuff on those shelves and it can get messy. And so she actually had someone come in and organize every little thing on every little shelf. And so that was pretty cool, being able to go in after she had all that done and, see how she was using the space that we had built for her. Had a Murphy bed. Murphy beds are cool.
Yeah.
Because it's able to store up, and then she can use that as a little reading nook, or her grandkids can play. And then when it's time for her to go to bed, she just pulls it down and goes to bed. A lot of cool little things that we did. In that time.
And going back to the video, that was our first video together. And I think I did a few videos with Mike at the time, but that was really early on for me. And I think back to like how we made that video and like how I edited it. And it was just like a whole different setup. I feel like now we're pretty streamlined with like how we do our videos. We now have the gimbal, the camera, the mics, you know. Back then I just had like a cell phone and mics, and that was pretty much it.
We didn't even have mics on that first one.
We didn't?
No.
Really?
No, that was all off the phone.
Nice.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
It was still good though. You sent it to me. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And now, you know, looking at the one that you just posted, I was like, man, that's cool, because you're filming it on the camera. Yeah. A lot of capital investment, but it definitely is paying dividends. And I think our videos are fun. You know, they definitely highlight all the important aspects to every job. Now, I wish, you know, I had all the time in the world to film every little detail, but I think you and me and Mike, we do a good job of trying to, you know, highlight what we can do. Do you ever get recognized by clients from the social media? A little bit. Yeah, there were a couple people that came up to me at the Grange Fair a couple weeks ago. And they were like, "Oh, I recognize you," and you had some videos playing on the TV, and they're like, "You're the guy on the TV," and you know, once in a while, if we have somebody come in the showroom, like, "Oh, I saw you on Facebook the other day," but you know, which is cool, and I think that's, you know, another kind of advantage to what we do. Like, we're not just posting, you know, pictures of jobs, like we're, you know, putting some faces to names, and you know, so when people, you know, when Mike shows up to somebody's house to, you know, run the project, you know, they feel a little bit more comfortable with us because they feel like they already know us.
Yeah.
And that's really one of the big things when you have someone who's going to be working in your house for months on end. Like, you want to feel comfortable. You want, you know, you don't want to feel like you have strangers in your house. And then we don't want you to feel like we're strangers in the house, because, you know, then that kind of hurts the experience as a homeowner. So I think that's a really unique way to kind of give our customers a peek behind the curtain, you know, get to know some of the people who may be working on their project. And it's kind of a fun thing for us to do too. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like when you and Mike get recognized, because that kind of just communicates to me that, you know, Munz is doing a good job. You know, being the man behind the camera, it's just like, it's really satisfying to see that people recognize the work that we do, and also, you know, the internet presence is effective. And I don't know, I really enjoy that. I know the one time we were filming a video for the food drive, and we were about to walk outside, and a lady came in and was like, "You're the guy in the video." And I was like, "Yeah, that's Matt." Yeah. A lot of eyes, you know. And it's grown significantly since we first started, which blows my mind. Like, when we first started, our videos were getting like 100 views, and then it was like 200 views, and then 500 views, and then 1,000 views. And I think the last video or 2 videos ago that you did got 45K views. And
wow,
you know, and that's also growing on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And it's just really satisfying to see all that stuff grow. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
One thing about Munz Construction is that we work hand in hand with MBIT, and you are a graduate of MBIT. So what was that like? And we also have some interns from MBIT. So what's it like connecting with them and kind of tying in your experience at MBIT to here?
Yeah, so I attended MBIT, and I touched on this a little bit earlier. I went for, it used to be called Electrical and Network Cabling was the name of it. I believe now it's Electrical Technologies. My teacher was Mr. Randy McDowell. He was the man.
Okay.
He's probably not going to watch this, but he's probably the most underappreciated teacher that I've ever had, as far as, you know, students not recognizing what a good teacher he was in the moment. I'm sure once people graduated and look back, they realized, but he was the man.
Yeah.
Still is. Yeah, it's a really cool avenue to take as a high schooler. You know, a lot of kids in high school, they don't know what they want to do with their lives, and some people do. And so tech school is a really great way. MBIT specifically is a really great avenue for people who are kind of exploring those career paths. I've went to school with many guys who, you know, they took the class for a couple of years and then they realize it's not what they want to do. And so they'll drop the class and then they'll go, you know, try something else. And, you know, some people might feel a certain way about that. And the way I see it is, you know, you're saving a lot of time and money. Like, you're not going to college and paying for classes for something that you don't want to do. You know, it's, you know, free. It's part of the public education. So, you know, you get to kind of try things out, get a little bit of that real world work experience. You know, they have a lot of emphasis on employability and things like that. Like, you're not just going to school there.
Yeah.
And they have like co-op opportunities. So like you had mentioned, you know, we actually employ some students who currently attend MBIT. And we've been doing that for a number of years now. And some of them who, when they graduate high school and they enter the workforce, they actually have come and worked for us. Colin, who works with us, I think he's actually going back to college right now, but you know, last year and then in the summers after graduating, he's been, you know, working pretty much full time with us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a really cool opportunity, again, getting some high schoolers that real world workforce experience. You know, you learn a lot more about responsibility and employability, and then you get to learn some real world skills, and they'll actually translate back into your classrooms. And then they kind of feed off each other. One thing that I really enjoyed when I was in tech school was I would work for my dad in the summers. And so I would use that time in the summer to learn as much as I could. So that way, when I went back to school, I felt like I had a head start for tech school. And then after the year was over at tech school and it'd be time to go back to work in the summer, I was then able to take everything I learned throughout the year at tech school and then apply that into my work in the summer. And I feel like it was just kind of a cycle that kind of fed itself with, hey, I'm learning and I'm going to apply it here. And there's really nothing better than the real world experience. I think MBIT is a great way to just build on knowledge and experience in the classroom, and then when you go out into the real world, you just learn so much more, but you're able to take the foundation that you built at MBIT and really apply it to what you're doing every day, which I think is really cool. If anyone's ever, you know, unsure about whether or not they want to you know, attend tech school, I will 100% recommend it. Whether you are part of a family business and you know that that's what you want to do for the rest of your life, or if you're kind of curious about one of the trades and you want to try it out, 100%, I'd recommend it.
All right, so MBIT was a great experience. Do you have any advice for MBIT students that are watching this?
Don't take it for granted. There's an unfortunate reputation that tech school and tech school students sometimes have in certain circles, and it's that you know, students just go there because they don't want to be in school, and they go there to just have a half day at school and then go kind of mess around for the other half of the day. And there is some truth to that. You know, definitely in my time there were, you know, there was a share of students who were, you know, they were just there to get out of school, and you know, you understand why they're doing that, but you know, I feel like even those students over time realized what a valuable resource that tech school was, and then they began to take it a little more seriously. You know, it really provides you with good experience, and you know, the teachers have a lot to share with you because most of them are, you know, people who were in their respective trades and now they're teaching you. So they have a whole lifetime of knowledge and experience that they're passing down to you. So I would say if that's an avenue that you're exploring and you're going to take a class, I would just apply yourself 100% and get out as much of it as you can. And if not, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Not just as a school student, but just as a person entering the workforce.
I think that's some good advice. I know when I was in high school, I wasn't really presented with a lot of trade school options, and I wish I was, because I feel like that would have been something I was interested in. But learn from time that it's a great resource for the right people.
And they do offer night classes for adults too.
Yeah.
So if you're not a high schooler and you're watching this and you want to go learn a trade, you can actually inquire about that with MBIT about some. I don't think they have the same variety that they have for the high school programs, but you can go and learn a trade at night with some of the same instructors, and you're learning the same things, and just add another tool to your tool belt.
Yeah.
Some new skills.
You can advance your career.
100%.
All right. So let's switch gears again.
Okay.
Into more personal stuff. Let's talk about disc golf.
Oh, lovely. All right.
Yeah. Cool. So if you didn't know, Matt here is a professional disc golfer.
Good.
I have even played disc golf because of Matt, and it's a lot of fun. So why don't we talk about that for a little bit? When did you discover disc golf, and what are your favorite things about it?
Yeah, so like a lot of other people, I got into disc golf during kind of the COVID period. A lot of places were closed down. Like, you couldn't go to the gym, you couldn't go a lot of indoor places. So a lot of people were, going to the store, picking up a starter set, and then going to the course. I mean, it's outside, it's free, it's at your local parks. And I got into it with my brother-in-law, then a few of my buddies from church. We would go play at Tyler State Park, and we would just throw them around, have a good time, hit a lot of trees, get a little frustrated. But, that's just how it is when you're new.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, that was fall of 2021. So going on 5 years in the sport.
Nice. Yeah, disc golf is a lot of fun. I'm not very good at it. I think the last time I played, I shot like a plus 50, plus 100, or something like that.
And that's what's unique about it, is it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
So like, if you were to go, and I also have a background in volleyball, as a volleyball player, volleyball coach, and that's a sport where, like, if you were to go try to play doubles with some people after work, play some pickup, right? If two people are really good and two people aren't so good, none of the four people are really going to have the best time, because they're, the play is not consistent. But as a disc golfer, like, I'm a semi-professional. I can't call myself professional, but I feel like I can go out with anybody regardless of their skill level, and we're just gonna have a good time because it's something that we enjoy.
It's fun even when you're not doing well.
Yeah, it's accessible to everybody. Discs are relatively inexpensive, and you can have a backpack full of them when you go out. You can have 2 or 3 when you go out. You kind of learn at your own pace, play at your own pace. You can, compete in tournaments every weekend if you want, or if you want to play, once every couple of months with some friends, you can kind of enjoy it at your own pace. And I think that's what's really unique about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to like dedicate your life to it to enjoy it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Beyond Tyler State Park, which is a beautiful state park in Richboro. Everybody loves that park. Beyond Tyler, what are some of your favorite courses?
So probably my favorite course right now is Camp Tecumseh in New Jersey.
Okay.
It's in Pittstown.
Okay.
It's on a Salvation Army camp. And they are closed throughout the summer, but they're open the rest of the year. And I think it's the number 2 rated course in New Jersey. Beautiful property. It's very quiet, very peaceful, and the golf's really fun. My next favorite's probably the Preserve at AGA Farm in Percy. It's about 5 minutes from my house. It's a pay-to-play course. It's on a private property. The owners are great, Dan and Marge. They're not going to watch this, but
shout out to Dan and Marge.
Yeah, shout out to Dan and Marge. They're awesome. They put in a ton of work year-round on this property, not just a disc golf course. So they're a Christmas tree farm. They have a pumpkin patch. They have a winery. They have a runway. People are, flying planes out of there. Yeah.
I just remember the pumpkin patch, because that's where my family would go growing up to get pumpkins. Now they have a runway. It's crazy.
Yeah, they really do a lot with their property, and they serve the community in a lot of ways, which is really cool with how they use their property. So If you're in the Percy area or like the Upper Bucks, Central Bucks area, I would definitely check out AGA Farm, especially in the fall and winter. You know, and go see some people who are doing some cool things in the community. So
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Cool. All right. So on to our final segment. I do this with everyone. It's our rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you some random questions, and you can give me your answers.
Okay.
You know, they can be quick answers, or you can elaborate, whatever you want to do. All right. First one. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Can I say iced tea?
I'll allow it.
Can I specifically say Fuse raspberry out of a soda fountain?
Interesting. I don't think I've had that.
Nothing beats it.
Yeah.
Nothing beats it.
That's where you get your caffeine fix.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big caffeine guy.
No, just iced tea.
Just iced tea. There we go, man. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Kind of a night owl. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not like 10:30. That's the extent of it.
Okay.
I'm just not that much of an early bird.
Yeah. You're like a regular time guy.
Yeah, like
know.
during the day.
Yeah.
I'm a day guy.
A day guy. I like that answer. You don't get a lot of day guys.
No.
I got an early bird answer, and I'm not an early bird. I'm a night owl. So every time people are like, I love waking up early, I'm like, good for you. That's a superpower in its own right, man. All right, next one. What is your favorite place to grab lunch?
Wawa.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I sat next to this man for about a year, and this man got Wawa every single day, and he got the same thing. What was it? A cheddar cheese pretzel, a thing of iced tea, and the most basic burrito you can get.
Yeah.
And it's consistent. It's good. Our office is right across the street from Wawa, so it's very,
It's right there.
It's convenient. We've all grown up around here.
I'm gonna go get my food. I'm gonna come back, eat it. I'm gonna get back to work. I'm not gonna drive 20 minutes to Newtown to get lunch.
Yeah.
You know who you are. I'm just gonna get right back to work.
Yeah. I like it. Beyond Wawa, do you have any other favorites in the area?
I do enjoy Chipotle.
Okay.
It's a place my wife and I both like. If we're driving home from somewhere, we don't feel like cooking. Usually, we don't even have to ask which kind of like Chipotle. Yeah, it's Chipotle. Yeah, double chicken burrito, extra white rice. You just get your money's worth if you ask for extra of the toppings that they don't charge you extra for. Extra white rice.
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm not a common Chipotle guy, so I might try that.
you should try it.
All right, next one.
Okay.
If you weren't in construction at Munz, what would you be doing?
Wow.
I just want to void out I know you went to MBIT for electrical work, so void that question too. I'm going to put that under the construction umbrella, just to get a little bit of a better answer.
Okay. I would be a professional disc golfer.
Oh my gosh, that's
go.
a very valid answer.
I wouldn't be very good, but
I think you are very good.
I'd be out there.
Yeah.
No, you should see the guys who are actually good.
Yeah.
They are far better than me.
Yeah, I follow a few disc golfers, and sometimes when they throw, it just blows my mind. Like, I wish I had that gene that they had that makes them a good disc golfer, and I don't know what that is, but I don't have that gene, So, there's a lot of good ones on there.
Oh, plenty.
If you won the lottery tomorrow, what would be the first thing you would buy?
Oh man, probably a 2021 Toyota Tacoma.
Shout out to me. That's a truck that I drive.
No, I'd probably get a truck.
Yeah. Well, but Toyota Tacoma is the best truck you can get, obviously.
Yeah.
Especially in metallic silver with a cap. Yeah. And a light bar up front. That is peak truck right there.
I wouldn't get anything flashy. Like I don't believe in being wasteful, but I would definitely get a truck. Yeah.
I like it. I know you did drive a truck. Kinda. An Xterra's a truck.
Yeah. I drove a 2013 Nissan Xterra. 16 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah.
stuff out there. It was great, but man,
Yeah. The Tacoma's not much better, but a little bit better than 16. We're talking 18 miles per the gallon.
Yeah.
And that's peak
That's
Tacoma
adequate.
right there.
Yeah, but you're getting, so with the SUV, I wasn't getting the functionality I would get out of a truck.
Yeah.
So I don't mind sacrificing some gas mileage for the practicality, but yeah.
Yeah. I love talking Tacomas. I'm glad you brought that up. I love
too.
Toyota Tacomas. If you know me personally, you'll know. You'll know. All right, on to the next one.
All right.
So you know the whole trend of like rank these 5 things before knowing the next one?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Blind ranking. Here we
Blind
go.
ranking. All right. So these are going to be project types. It's very open ended. I'm just going to give you a project type. You're going to be like, I like this. And it's 1 through 5, 1 being your favorite, 5 being your least favorite. And you're not going to know what's coming next.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Kitchen.
See, I really like kitchens. You can do so much with a kitchen. Mm-hmm. And if it's my kitchen, I'm super pumped about it. If it's someone else's kitchen and I get to like see their taste and their style and then make it happen. But I'm scared to put it at 1, so I'm going to put it at 2.
Okay. See, I like the strategy.
I've
the strategy.
I've seen how these things go,
Yeah.
and I know better than to put the first thing at 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for the second one?
Sure.
All right. Bathroom projects.
Yeah, similar to kitchens, there's so much. Your options are endless with a bathroom. And I was thinking if there's anything I put above a kitchen, it would be a bathroom. But I know how these things go.
Okay.
I'm leaving that number 1 spot open. I'm going to put it in 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have 2 and 3 on the board. All right. Next up is an in-law suite project.
Ooh, see, I'm going to put that at 1. And here's why. It's got a kitchen.
Okay.
It's got a bathroom.
Okay.
I was going to put both of those at number 1, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And those are kind of rolled into one project. And also there's the family aspect. I think it's really, really good for, people to take care of their family members, whether it's, their children moving in, their parents moving in. I think there's an element of convenience, but, it's a selfless act to, spend that kind of money to be able to have a relative live with you and take care of them. Mm-hmm. And so, while they're really fun for us to build, I think it's really cool. And it says a lot about your family and your family dynamic when we hear about people building in-law suites.
Yeah.
So they're going to be at number 1.
I like that answer.
100%.
I like the whole multi-generational family living that's kind of making a comeback. It used to be that, you'd grow up, you'd buy your own house, you move out of your parents' house, your kids will buy a house, they'll live in their own house. And now and then you send your parents when they get older to like a nursing memory care facility. And now it's more or less, let's just all live together and kind of help each other thrive. And I like that aspect of it. Are you ready for the next one?
Hit me.
All right, sunrooms. The reason why I put this on here is it's mainly because we don't do a ton of them. But
Yeah.
personally, I have a sunroom and it's awesome. So what do you think?
I mean, I can take or leave a sunroom.
Brutal.
I think they're, for some people, they're really cool. Like for me, if I'm going to sit outside, I just want to sit outside.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What about in the wintertime when you want to be outside but you don't like being cold?
I'll just sit inside.
You just sit right next to a window with a chair pulled up.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
I like it.
No, I think they're cool. I think it's a lot of natural light. We're putting a lot of windows in, maybe some skylights, sliding doors. And when they're done right, I think they're really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just because I'm a little scared to see what you're hitting me with next, I'm gonna put it at 5.
Okay.
Not because I don't like sunrooms, but just because I feel like compared to everything else on the list, it goes at 5.
Okay. So the final one, which will be number 4, is basements.
That's the perfect list.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on basements?
Well, I think similarly to in-law suites, it could include a kitchen or a bathroom. Mm-hmm. Most of them, a lot of them don't. So I think because of the possibilities that you have with a basement, I think they're really good. if you just need another room for your kids to play and make a mess, it's great. If you're going to build a theater and an office and a kitchen bar area and a full bathroom and a guest bedroom, they're also great. Really just making the most out of, previously unfinished space and, making use out of it, I think is really cool. And it's helpful for resale too. Like, you see a house with a finished basement. If you've got 4 kids, you see that finished basement and you're thinking, great. This is where our kids are going to hang out, play with their friends, all this stuff. So, I like basements.
Going from houses that have had finished basements to unfinished basements, it's always nice having a finished basement. That's always, once they're finished, that always becomes the main hub of entertainment and fun time, essentially. Like in my one house, it was just like a TV room, essentially, just like a secondary living room. And then in another house that I've lived in, it's been a bar. Now I currently live in an unfinished basement, which it's now just essentially a storage room, which, that serves its own purpose in its own way. I think basements are not often thought of. Like, I don't feel like we do too many basements, but when we do, they're always super cool, and they're always unique. Like, every single basement we do is different. And I think that's cool. Versus like a kitchen, like kitchens tend to follow trends, while basements tend to follow interests, and they're, you get to be creative with it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it from me. Do you have any closing remarks?
Do I have any closing remarks?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching the podcast. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
This is an exciting new thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just gonna.
I thought you were about to close me out.
I don't.
That's okay.
I had to think. I had to think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Excited to see where where Munz goes from here.
Yeah. And thank you for watching another episode of the Don't Move, Improve podcast with Munz Construction. I forgot to mention, Matt's the one that thought of the podcast title name. So,
did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
When we were brainstorming. Yeah. When we were in the office together, there was probably a few day period where we were kind of just shooting names back and forth. And I think you were the one that was like, why don't we just call it Don't Move, Improve podcast? I was like, that's like Occam's razor. The easiest answer is the right answer,
You're welcome.
Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Follow all of our social medias on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of them. We're on all of them, TikTok. And catch you guys in the next one.